Anyone can now make MetaHumans that look this real and animate them with Unreal Engine.
With full customization like never before.
Different faces,
Different hairstyles.
thin,
Fat.
tall,
Short.
muscular,
Feminine.
and whatever this is. Making a MetaHuman takes less than 10 minutes and it's easy and free.
But I don't know how to animate their face. It must be hard and expensive.
In this video,
We are gonna give you the ultimate guide of creating MetaHumans and animating their face.
we'll teach you how to build your MetaHumans from scratch and walk you through all the customization.
Then we are gonna teach you all 3 different methods you can use to animate their face.
It is so easy that you can do it with anything that records video or audio.
You can use a webcam to animate the face.
You can use a phone to animate the face. iPhone or Android, doesn't matter.
You can use a DSLR camera.
You can even just use your voice alone to animate the face.
Yeah, that's now possible.
And by the way, if you have a phone that has a depth camera, then we're also going to teach you how to create your own custom MetaHuman that looks just like you. Actually, Farhad, since we have our MetaHumans, why don't we just use them to teach the video? Why are we wasting our time here?
Okay.
Ow! Never start with the head. The victim gets all fuzzy.
Yeah, but I need you to talk.
Talk about what?
There is a new guy in town. Getting access into banks with MetaHumans that look so photorealistic that even our security system can't tell them apart from real people. Animated with perfect lip sync and facial movement.
What makes you think I want to help you?
Because he's using your name and he has already stolen $50 million. That's more than you stole from us. Clearly, he's better than you.
No way. He's just a phony. Can't do what I can do. Do you have any surveillance footage?
We want to know exactly how he's making these MetaHumans and how he's animating them so realistically.
I'll help you. Under one condition.
And what's that?
You're gonna walk to Dairy King. Get me a large, extra swirl vanilla chocolate ice cream. Dipped in dark chocolate, so thick it cracks when I bite it. Rolled in exactly 3 layers of toasted coconut flakes. Not 2, not 4, 3.
Deal. Now show me how you do it.
Okay, so first, you need a MetaHuman. When you download your Unreal Engine version, you'll have to enable in the options the MetaHuman Creator Core Beta. Then inside the engine, under Edit, Plugins, you must ensure to have all MetaHuman related options enabled as well. Once Unreal Engine is restarted, now we can get into business. First, let's get into our content browser with control space. Let's create a new folder for our MetaHuman. Right-click in an empty space. Hover over the MetaHuman category, and from there, click on MetaHuman Character. Now let's get inside. This is where we can fully design and customize our character. There are some crazy new upgrades and features that were never available before 5.6. On the left side of this window, you'll see several categories like presets, body, head, materials, hair and clothing, assembly. We're going to go through them one by one, from top to bottom, to fully customize the MetaHuman. Let's start with the presets. Here you can select a pre-made MetaHuman and be done with it, or you can select one and customize on top of it. I won't be using the presets here. We're going to make our own custom MetaHuman from scratch. So let's move to the body. On the left panel, click on Body. You'll now see your MetaHuman standing in the middle of the screen. And on the side, you'll see multiple options like Blend, Conform, and Model. We can use the Blend mode to select multiple bodies of pre-made characters and start defining the overall shape and proportions of our character by blending in between them. Using the Conform option, we can import a pre-made body of our own, made in other 3D softwares and transform the body to it. There are two options here: MetaHuman DNA or use a template. If you've made a custom body shape in other 3D software that is not a MetaHuman and you want to bring it in, you can use the template option. If you've made custom MetaHuman bodies in previous projects and want to transfer it, you will use the DNA option. Next is Model. In this window, let's select the parametric option. Here you can adjust pretty much every part of the body separate from each other with full flexibility using simple sliders. This allows you to create any body type you desire. This level of customization never existed before the 5.6 update. To give you an idea of how powerful this new update is, if we click on the Fix tab, these are the older body types that were the only options available to use for customization. Once you're satisfied with the body, we'll move on to the head. On the left panel, click on Head. There are a lot of familiar options here, similar to what we had for the body. In the Blend option, you can mix and match the presets to get the face that you want, exactly like the body. In the Conform option, you have the option to import a DNA file from a previous MetaHuman you've made. The other option is to use a MetaHuman identity. A MetaHuman identity is a file that contains the data of a custom 3D face we've made either using another 3D software or using a 3D scan of a face. Regardless, these 3D faces have to be processed by MetaHuman identity before being used here, which means they have to be a human in shape and not a creature or a monster. The process is simple, and I'll show you how to use it. The template option is where you can be super creative and flexible with the design. If you've made a custom head shape in other 3D software that is a non-human character, imagine a shark face, you can use the template option to import the mesh and transform your MetaHuman. This is a slightly more complex option as it requires you to wrap the MetaHuman mesh for it to work properly. In the Transform tab, you can literally move, scale, and rotate different parts of the face for finer controls. You can disable symmetry if you want to adjust only one side of the face without mirroring the changes to the other side. And if you need to, you can also increase the head scale from this panel. If you select the Sculpt option, you'll see a ton more control points directly on the face. You can click on these points around the eyes, nose, mouth, jaw, and so on, and drag them gently to further sculpt the shape of the face. And the last one is teeth and eyelashes. Here, you can fine-tune the shape and look of the teeth. As for eyelashes, we're going to ignore them now since we can change them later in the Hair tab. Under Teeth, you can use Jaw Open slider to open the mouth before you make adjustments. You can use Variation to add an overall variation to the look of every tooth. And finally, hovering over and left-click dragging on each of these arrows will allow us to change a specific parameter of the teeth. When you're happy with the face structure, we move on to the materials. This section controls the surface and appearance of your MetaHuman, the color and texture of the skin, eyes, teeth, and so on. Let's start with the skin. You can adjust the skin tone here. You also have the options like skin roughness or small details such as freckles. One thing that will make the biggest difference is the face texture index. This is where you can select between 152 different facial wrinkles, pores, redness, and details. Previously, you only had a few tiny options. You can also do the same for the body using the Body Texture Index. If you scroll down, you also have the option to add custom textures on the MetaHuman if you've created your textures in other 3D software or want to import them from a real face scan. Next, let's go to the eyes. Here you can start with a preset and then customize on top. Under Iris, you can adjust things like the iris texture, color, rotation, pupil size, and more. You also have the options such as pupil dilation, cornea size, and sclera rotation. Then, let's move to the teeth and eyelashes. For teeth, choose a natural looking shade. You want them clean, but not glowing unnaturally white. so you're probably better off with a yellowish plaque color and a tiny plaque amount. For eyelashes, we'll adjust it later with all the hair. Finally, we also have an option if you want to add makeup for your character. Now let's give our MetaHuman some style with hair and clothing. On the left side, click on hair and clothing. Here, you can choose all the groom and wardrobe elements: hair, eyebrows, mustache, beard, eyelashes, and the actual outfit. First, let's pick the hair. Browse through the hair presets and select a style that matches your character. Once you click on the style, it will appear directly on the character. You can double-click the same style to remove it. After that, check the eyebrows, eyelashes, mustache, and beard. They all work in the exact same way as the hair. Now, let's go to the outfit/clothing category and pick the only outfit we have available. Here, we can either import our own clothing asset we've made or drag in the purchased assets we can get from the Fab marketplace. And there's a ton of them. The awesome thing about the new parametric body shapes and wardrobes is that new clothing assets can automatically fit onto any body type. Now let's click on the detail panel. This is where you can start adjusting the materials and colors for all the hair and clothing. We can adjust details like roughness, melanin, highlights, and more to achieve the kind of look that we want. Once you're happy with everything, it's time to assemble the character and set its quality. Now we're going to go to assembly and prepare the MetaHuman for use. This step is necessary because the MetaHuman you're viewing is only for display purposes and not tuned to your specific use case. On the left, click on Assembly. This is where you choose the quality level of the MetaHuman between complete, high, medium, low, or UEFN for Fortnite, or DCC to export to other 3D softwares. We can also give the character a name. For quality, we're going to select UE Cinematic. UE Cinematic will give you the highest quality MetaHuman with very detailed textures and features, which is ideal if you're working on cinematics or close-up shots. Just remember, higher quality also means heavier performance costs and larger file sizes. If you're working on a big game with many characters, you might later choose lower quality options. As for the name, type in a clear name so you can recognize it later. For example, Suspect MetaHuman. Once everything is set and ready, on the top left, we'll create the full rig by clicking the button. This will literally create the bone structure and armature for the MetaHuman, so we can animate it. Once a full rig creation is done, we're going to download the texture source. You'll be asked to choose the texture quality. The rule here is simple. Higher quality equals more detailed skin, but also more VRAM usage, more disk space usage, and more loading times. Pick the quality that makes sense for you. Once everything is done, your assembly button might be gray or maybe missing. Just click on another tab and then come back into assembly and it should be ready to use. Click on the green Assemble button to finalize your MetaHuman. This step packages everything together and sends the fully built MetaHuman into your project as a usable character inside your content browser. Once the assembly finishes, you can save everything and close the MetaHuman window. Go back to the content browser at the bottom of the screen. Navigate to your MetaHumans folder or the folder where Unreal stores MetaHumans in your project. You should now see the MetaHuman you just created with the name you gave it earlier. From here, you can drag it into your level and begin animating.
Okay, so that's how he makes his MetaHumans. But how does he animate them?
So, there are two possible ways he could have pulled this off. First one, he probably used any consumer-grade camera, literally anything, lying around in his house, like a webcam or a DSLR, to record his face and drive the MetaHuman.
Wait, I thought you could only use iPhones.
New update, dummy. You can use any camera.
Look here. Now that we have our MetaHuman, let's try animating it with a random camera, like this webcam. First, we'll record a video with the camera, and then bring it into Unreal to process it and drive the MetaHuman animation. Impressive, isn't it? So, to do that, first we need some plugins. Go to the top left of Unreal Engine and click on Edit, and select the last option, Plugins. In the search bar, type Live Link. Make sure you enable Live Link, Live Link Control Rig, and Live Link Hub. Once you've done that, Unreal may ask you to restart the software. Go ahead and restart. Now that you're back, go to the top left again and click on Tools. Under the Virtual Production category, click on Live Link Hub. This will open a new application for Live Link Hub. Give it a second to load. Inside Live Link Hub, on the top left, click on Live Data dropdown and switch it to Capture Manager. Once you're in Capture Manager, you need to add a device. Click on Add Device and choose Mono Video Ingest. This is where we'll input our videos. After you've added Mono Video Ingest, click on it. In the device details below, look for Take Directory and click the 3 dots beside it. This directory is the folder where you have saved the video recordings of you talking. Select the correct folder that contains the video you want to use and click Select Folder. You can ingest many videos at the same time. Once that is done, you should be able to see your videos listed under Take Browser in the middle section. Now, select the video that you want Unreal Engine to import. Once you click on your video, go to the top right and click Add to Queue. After adding it, you should see the name of your video in the queue list. Before we start importing, click on the video in the list and scroll down. If the orientation of your video is wrong, go to the Output section, find Image Rotation, and fix it by rotating the video. Once that's done, go back up and select all your videos in the queue and click Start to import everything into Unreal. Once the process is complete, in your content browser, you now have a new folder called Capture Manager. Click on the Capture Manager folder. Inside it, go into Import, Mono Video Ingest, and look for your video name. Unreal has processed your video in 3 different assets: your audio, an image media source, and the capture data. These are the files that we'll be using to drive the MetaHuman animation. Now, how do we process the video and track the face to create facial animation data for the MetaHuman? Every time we want to do that, we'll need something called a MetaHuman performance. In the content browser, right-click, hover over the MetaHuman category, click on the MetaHuman performance, and once the MetaHuman performance asset is created, double-click to open it. Here is where we can see the real-time processing that happens when we feed videos to turn into MetaHuman facial animation. In the middle is our viewport, where we can bring a face to visualize things. On the right are all of our settings where we can input footages. And on the bottom is our timeline that will show us the full animation. On the right side, switch the footage mode from depth footage to monocular footage. In the footage capture data field, select the capture data asset from the video we just processed. Now on the left side, under Image Review, you should be able to see your video you've recorded, and you can scroll through it with the timeline below. You can also drag the green and red sliders to set a start and end time for when you want the animation to be processed. Now, in the Details panel, look for Visualization Mesh. Search for and select SKM_face, which is going to load in the default MetaHuman face mesh so we can see what our animation looks like when it's being processed. You can also load any other MetaHuman face mesh you may have. When you do this, you'll get a pop-up asking, Use audio clock source? Click yes, so it syncs the animation with the audio properly. Before we start the process, instead of putting the head movement mode on the transform track, we switch it to Control Rig. This is a better choice most of the time because we want the neck and head movement to come from the body motion capture rather than the facial motion capture. Now we're ready. So on the top left of the MetaHuman performance window, click Process to begin the tracking. Et voila, it is done and it's fast. Now click the play button to preview the MetaHuman face getting animated based on the video. Isn't it insane? This was only possible with phones before, but now anyone can use any camera to make facial animations this fast. Now that you have your MetaHuman face animation ready, let's export it. Go to the top of the MetaHuman performance window and click on Export Animation. Choose a new folder for it. We'll create a folder called Animations. Inside that, we'll name our performance, Video Animation. Naming it clearly makes it easier to recognize it later. Click Save. In this tab, disable head movement if your body animation is going to drive the head. Then click Create. There you go, done. Your animation is now exported and we can view it by double-clicking the animation sequence where we saved it. Okay, but how do we actually use this on our MetaHuman? Let's go into the level sequence, which is technically our timeline where we can animate objects in Unreal. Top left corner, find the clapper icon and click on it, and choose Add Level Sequence. Name it whatever you want. Now, if you drag the bottom bar up, you can see your sequencer. Drag and drop your MetaHuman character from the outliner into the left side of the timeline. You'll now see multiple tracks such as Body, MetaHuman Control Rig, Face, Control Board, Control Rig. Remove the existing control rigs by clicking them and hitting backspace on your keyboard. If you keep them, your new animations would not work. Now click on the plus icon on the face track so we can add our animations. Hover over animation. Now you'll see a list of animations you can choose from. Look for the animation that we've just created. For us, we named it Video Animation. We're going to select it under the face track. You should now see the full bar that represents the facial animation. If it is longer than our current playhead, we're going to go ahead and drag the end slider to match our animation. Press the play button and see your animation come to life. So now let's cover method 2, which is using a phone to animate the MetaHuman. Now here's the cool bit. If you have a phone with a depth camera, not only do we achieve a much higher fidelity of facial animation, we can also use the depth footage to map out the face of the person in the video to then create a MetaHuman digital double of them, a custom MetaHuman. So let's get started. Download the iPhone or Android Live Link application using the App Store and open it. Once you open it, go on the left side and tap on Settings. There you will see certain options. Under Mode, make sure it is set to the MetaHuman Animator. Select Video, and here you can see if your phone is capable of recording depth footage or not. If it is, enable Capture Depth. Regardless the depth, you always want to select the highest target frame rate for the best animation quality. For us, that is 60. Now let's go out and make sure head stabilization is enabled. Scroll down and find video quality and set it to high. Now that everything is set up, we need to connect the phone to Unreal Engine. Go back to the top of the settings and look for your Wi-Fi address, which is showing your IP address. We need this to connect the phone to the computer. First, ensure that your phone and computer are on the same Wi-Fi for this to work properly. Now, before we begin, we are first required to install a new plugin from the Fab Marketplace. Let's first save and close our Unreal Engine, and go to Epic Games Launcher and click on the Fab section and search for MetaHuman Animator Depth Processing. Add it to the library. Now once added, go to the Unreal Engine tab, scroll down to the Fab library, and refresh it. Search MetaHuman Animator Depth Processing and install it to your current engine version. Now open Unreal Engine again and go to the top left, Edit, Plugin, and search for MetaHuman Animation Depth Processing. Enable it and restart your Unreal Engine. This is going to allow us to do depth processing for our character. Inside Unreal Engine, let's open the Live Link Hub once again. On the top left, go to Tools, hover over the Virtual Production category, click on the Live Link Hub. Go to the top left, switch to Capture Manager. In the Capture Manager, click on Add Device. This time, we're going to add the Live Link Face device to connect to the Live Link app on our phone. Once you add the Live Link Face and click it, on the bottom, you will see the IP address field. Here, you'll need to input the same Wi-Fi address we found earlier on our Live Link app. Once that is done, click on Connect. If the setup is correct and you're on the same Wi-Fi network, you should be able to see the option for us to disconnect at the bottom. Now that it's connected, I can hold my phone and start to record my video by clicking on the red button in the app. When I'm done, I can click on the same red button to stop recording. And if the connection is right, within a few seconds to a minute, you should see the videos pop up in the middle of Live Link Hub under Take Browser. Never close the app on your phone until we're done transferring the files. It's always a good practice to have a neutral pose of the face without expressions before we start recording our performance. It becomes handy later on, trust me. Also, ensure that your phone is stable and static. Once you're done recording your take, just like our previous method, click on the take that you want to use, and on the top, click on Add to Queue. Once you add it to the queue, it will appear on the right side in the job list. When it's there in the job list, you can click Start Process. It will take a few seconds to some minutes, depending on the length of the recording. When it's done, we will once again have our footage inside our Capture Manager folder in the content browser under the Live Link section. Now that we have our footage, it is time to process it using our MetaHuman performance we have created earlier. You can either add a new MetaHuman performance asset or go back to the old one and change things. For now, we're going to add a new one. Right-click in the content browser and create a new MetaHuman performance. Now that the MetaHuman performance asset is created, double-click it and open it. On the right side, if you've recorded without depth footage, then you're going to choose monocular footage once again for your input and literally follow the exact same steps as the previous method of using any camera to obtain your facial animation. But if you have recorded with depth footage, then set the footage type to depth footage. For the footage capture data, assign the footage we just processed from the Live Link hub. Now with depth footage, we now have a mandatory new item called MetaHuman Identity. We need to select one. If not, we cannot process the animation. Now, why do we need to add a MetaHuman Identity and what is the benefit of it? Because we're using depth footage, Unreal wants to reconstruct your face in 3D to create a digital double of you so that it can create the highest fidelity of animation. So let's create the MetaHuman Identity. Click on MetaHuman Identity and under Create New Asset, choose MetaHuman Identity. Select the folder where you want to save it. Once it is done, double-click the MetaHuman Identity asset to open it. Inside the MetaHuman Identity window, go to the top left and click on Create Components from Footage. And once you're done, select your Live Link footage that you recorded with your phone. Once the footage is selected, on the left side, click on Neutral Pose, because here we have to select one frame of the video in which our face is in neutral pose. Once you find that frame, while still having neutral pose selected, look for Promote Frame on the top and click it. A pop-up will appear to confirm your selection. Just press OK. What this will do is create neutral trackers on your face. If the trackers are incorrect, you can adjust them by clicking and dragging them. If the trackers did not appear at all for you, you can click on Track Markers at the top. Now that the markers are tracked, click on MetaHuman Identity Solve. It will take a minute to process. Since this is a depth footage, it will try to capture your facial data in 3D space so that it can reconstruct your exact face in 3D for the highest quality motion capture. Once the solve is done, if you click on Mix Mode on the top, the central window, you can witness the magic of Unreal Engine and its technology. Drag the slider in the center of the screen to compare how the 3D mesh looks versus the face of the person in the recording. Once you're happy with it, click on Auto Rig MetaHuman Identity on the top so Unreal Engine can add the bones and armature to the face. This will take a moment to load. If your MetaHuman looked deformed and incorrect, there's a chance that doing the Auto Rig can also solve that problem for you. It did in our case. And now finally, in order to use this identity we've created for our MetaHuman performance asset, we'll need to click on Prepare for Performance. Give it some time. Okay, so we are done, and now we have a MetaHuman identity. What's the added benefit of this, you may ask? Once we create the MetaHuman identity digital double of you, if you remember, we can go to our MetaHuman creator and use the Conform tab and import an identity to then create a fully custom MetaHuman that looks just like you. That is insane, to use a single video of you to create your custom MetaHuman. Previously, you'd have to do a full 3D scan of your face using professional equipment and specialized software, which would cost a lot more money or a lot more time. Now let's go back to the animation. With the new MetaHuman identity, we can go back to our MetaHuman performance window and add it there. Make sure to set the head movement to Control Rig like before and add a visualization mesh. Here you can choose SKM face for a default MetaHuman face, or search for the same name of your identity to have your own face mesh. Once it's done, on the top left, click Process. This will take a few minutes to process, depending on how long the animation is, but this is going to be the highest fidelity animation you can get. Okay, great. Our animation is done processing. View it and enjoy it. Just like before, go to the top and click on Export. Select a folder where you want to export your animation. Once you're done, name the animation asset, and click Save. Done. Now that it's done, we can go back to our sequencer where we have our MetaHuman. This time, it is the phone animation we're looking for. Let's replace our Method 1 animation by right-clicking on the track and hovering over Properties and finding our new animation and changing it to the Method 2 animation name. Now you can see we have our phone animation driving the MetaHuman.
What are you
Nice.
talking about?
We're done.
This is insane. I can't do that.
Wait, so just from a video on your phone, you can make a custom MetaHuman that looks just like you and animate it at the same time?
Yeah, the new 5.6 update is insane.
Then that's it. I don't think we need to see the CCTV footage we have of our guy.
Hold up. There's a CCTV footage?
Not important. Just the footage of the guy in the lobby. You can't even see him doing anything. He's probably just sending a voice message.
You guys really suck at your job. This is literally the only evidence we needed.
What do you mean?
You guys really don't know anything about the new Unreal Engine updates, do you? There's even another way you can do facial animation. Audio to animation. You feed it audio, and then Unreal Engine automatically takes the sound information and translates it to facial animation in just a few seconds. You can even select the emotion of the animation. Happy, angry, sad, you name it, it's there. It's insane technology. Your guy is using audio to drive the facial animation.
I don't understand. That can't be real.
Okay, I'll show you the audio feature, but first, you have to know there's a lot more. 5.6 was a huge upgrade for animation inside Unreal Engine. The curve editor has been completely redesigned with a new lattice tool, which allows for group adjustments when editing a bunch of keyframes at the same time. We now have an improved tween tools and motion trails, so you can adjust the timing, spacing, and arcs much more easily without manually tweaking every single keyframe. The sequencer even got an upgrade and is way more organized with a navigation tool when dealing with tons of data. And the curve editor now has better performance when dealing with tons of keyframes. Yeah, that's much better. Need I mention we now have real-time audio scrubbing, so lining up dialogue and lip sync is so much faster. We also get control rate physics, which allows us to make complex procedural animations using nodes and adds more natural secondary motion. Before, we'd have to use third-party tools to achieve all of this, but now we can do it inside Unreal itself. Okay, I may have sidetracked a little bit. Let's get back into the audio. Okay, so if the criminal was recording his voice, we have this final method where we don't need any cameras, no video, no depth footage, only audio. First, grab your phone or any microphone and record your voice. Record the full script or dialogue that you want your MetaHuman to say. Once that's done, export the audio file and import it into your Unreal Engine project through the content browser. Once you've imported the audio file, right-click in the content browser and add a new MetaHuman performance asset. Open the MetaHuman performance asset, and on the top right, switch the input type to audio. After switching the input type to audio, select the audio sample that you want to use. Now scroll down to the control rig section. For the visualization mesh, select the face mesh that you want. For us, we'll be using SKM face. Now we've done this before. For the head movement, make sure it is driven by the control rig. Now scroll down a little bit more, and you should see a new section for the mood based on the audio. Here you can select what matches your audio best. Neutral, happy, sad, disgust, anger, surprise, fear. For our sample, we're going to use anger, and that will naturally move the features of the face to make the character look angry. Go to the top left of the MetaHuman performance window and click Process. Wait for a moment while Unreal analyzes the audio and generates the facial animation. And that's it. The first time I saw this, It blew my mind to pieces. I mean, there's no video footage to look at here, and it was processed in seconds. And the animation looks insanely good. We're ready to export. Click on Export Animation. Choose the folder where you want to save your animation. Give it a clear name, and then click Save. Close the MetaHuman Performance window. Go back to your sequencer where you already have your MetaHuman in the scene. On the face track, replace your animation with a new one. Your MetaHuman should now be speaking with facial animation generated only from an audio source.
I don't understand. What do you mean when you're saying that you stole my money? What are you talking about? This is my money, not yours.
What's this?
Our deal.
I asked for a very specific kind of ice cream with toasted coconut flake. This is a cheesecake.
If you like this video, subscribe from